Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm a little bit out of breath already. Simply because I'm just walking. I've already been walking for a good minute, but I'm making a video tonight on a nightly walk. I used to actually do these walks like every night during the summer, but ever since it got cold I kind of held back. Because it's been super cold now. Like where I live, it's like super hot during the day, but at night it gets super cold. So I've been kind of not doing these nightly walks anymore because I hate the cold. And also I'm talking kind of softly because it's pretty late and most people are sleeping probably. But yeah, not trying to be a disturbance to their sleep. But I really wanted to do this video because tonight's a little bit different. It's not just a nightly walk. I'm actually walking to the place where my grandpa died, where he got run over. Because tomorrow is gonna be 6 years since he passed. And even though he got run over, I don't really like to say that he got killed, honestly. I don't really want to think of it like that. I was kind of reflecting on that today because I was really thinking about it in that way before. Like when it was like so recent, honestly, and I guess up until recently too, but I've just really been reflecting on like how I know my grandpa wouldn't want to blame the person who ran him over, because it was just like a terrible accident. So yeah, and he was already like really old. And anyways, I don't really want to talk about like his death specifically, like what happened, because it was still just very traumatic, and I'm sure it's very traumatic for like everyone involved, even the people who, like the other family who I have like no idea who they are. I never went to any of like the court stuff just because it was very traumatic for me to lose my grandfather, because he was basically my dad to me. He raised me. He literally spent like the most time with me than any other family member, for sure. And we were super close, honestly. I was like always with him. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about I guess about that day specifically, and that night also, because it was just a very like spiritual day for me, I guess you could say. It was like spiritual, like I don't know, like it was kind of crazy, but I guess I'll just tell you guys. Right? I should just start. So yeah, I guess we'll talk this through, because I'm getting emotional even walking over there. So yeah, I actually got a bouquet of flowers. They're fake. My grandpa used to always get my grandma fake flowers, and I remember my mom and my aunts always telling him like, why don't you just buy her real flowers? And it was always like a thing, because he really liked artificial flowers. He just thought like they would last forever. Dang, that truck is loud. But yeah, he always thought like artificial flowers just last forever, so like why waste money on flowers that are gonna die? I don't know, he just like really liked them, and he even had like his own little collection at his house. He had his house like full of artificial flowers. So today I went and bought some artificial flowers that I think that he would like, honestly. And I'm gonna go put it up just as a reminder, just in memory of him. Not, hopefully I don't make anybody sad. I know like probably a lot of family members drive by that road, but it's definitely something I want people to remember him, not necessarily his death, but like in a way, you know, I don't see it as, I don't want to see it as like a bad thing, regardless of how he died. I still want to see it as like remembering him as a day like that day, him returning to God, basically. That's how I want to remember it. So yeah, 6 years ago today, like this, it was like at night. I hadn't seen him in a while. It was probably had been a couple months since I had last seen him. I can't remember when I came back. It had been a few months though. And I remember last time I saw him, I remember last time I saw him, I told him, I don't know when I'm gonna see you next, Grandpa. And he was asking me like when I was thinking of coming back, and I was just telling him like maybe for my aunt's birthday, which was in November. And he was like, okay, well, anyways, you know, just take care, and I love you. And I remember I gave him a hug, and that was the last time I saw him. And so then 6 years ago, on this night, just like tonight, I could not sleep at all that night. I remember I was tired the whole day. I literally thought I was going to be able to fall asleep that night. Like, I was tired from the day, had a pretty long day, and then I was like, I got ready for bed. I went to bed, and I could not fall asleep. I remember I was just lying in bed awake, and I just had this strange feeling, and I just could not go to sleep. And I don't know, I just had this really intense feeling. And then I got up and I sat on my couch. I lived in this apartment at that time. And I was sitting on my couch for another couple of hours, and I just couldn't fall asleep. But this feeling just kept getting like more and more intense, honestly. So this feeling just kept getting really more and more intense. And I kind of just went into like this negative spiral. And at the time I was struggling with depression a lot because I had gone through very traumatic experiences by that point in my life that had happened like pretty recently. And it was just like one thing after another in that time of my life. And I didn't know how to really deal with these emotions. So I thought I was just having like a bad night where I couldn't sleep and just being like super depressed and just having all these negative thoughts. But it, like I said, that feeling just kept getting more and more intense, and until I finally decided to go on a drive. But while I was on that drive, I got more and more intense. Like I was falling apart, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. I was really just having this terrible feeling in me. And I remember I was speaking to God though. Even at that time I had distanced myself from God. I was talking directly to God, and I was just telling him in like a very negative way though, because I was just very depressed, very anxious at that time. So I'm getting personal here, so please no judgment. But I was just honestly telling God, like, could you just please end my life? Like, please, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to suffer anymore. I don't know why I'm suffering so much, why I see so many terrible things happening around me. And I really wanted to die. And while I was on my drive, I just kept asking, for that. But I was like kind of at the same time just like planning to end my life that night too. But I remember thinking, and I remember this being literally the only reason why I wouldn't do it, which was my grandpa. Like, he was literally the reason why I wouldn't and I couldn't do it, was because of the love that he always showed me, and just knowing like if there's like anybody who's gonna care or be hurt of me hurting myself, it was gonna be my grandpa. And so that was like the main reason that really just stopped me, that really just got me to go home, was literally just the thought of my grandpa and the thought of him just caring about me, and I just felt like his love with me, even when I was so far from him. I was like hundreds of miles away from him, and even then I just knew, like, he loves me and he wouldn't want me to do this. So I went home, and I finally like lied down and finally like was able to fall asleep, and I probably fell asleep at like 7 a.m. And then I literally woke up at 12, and then like 5 hours later I got a call from my mom around like 5, and she told me, sorry, I'm checking if my snake's still there. She's with me. I brought her as my little company support. But yeah, my mom called me, and she just told me, like, I mean, she was just like crying, obviously, and she just told me, like, Michelle, your grandpa died. She couldn't really like even explain to me what had happened in that moment, because obviously it was a lot for her to even tell me that, because she just knew like it was gonna like break me, literally, like telling me that. And I remember immediately just thinking, like, that's literally why I felt like that night. Like, it was almost like if like my whole body, my whole soul just knew that like he was gonna be parting. Like, it was like my body was just like bracing itself, and I didn't know why until like I finally found out why. And then later on, I didn't find out like right away, but later on I found out that he literally passed away like right when I had woke up. It was like at 12, like literally the exact time I had woke up, which was weird because I hadn't slept that whole night. Like, I went to sleep at 7 a.m, and then I woke up at noon. So I was like, I only slept like 5 hours, and then I had literally woke up. So I'm like, and I know, like, and I was up, like, I was not tired even then too. Like, it's still like, it was just like I had gotten a nap in, and like I still just wasn't able to rest even more. But that's why I know, like, it was just a very spiritual moment for me, because I had never experienced anything like that. I mean, okay, the only other time that happened to me was literally when my grandma actually passed away, which it was kind of a similar story too. It was kind of like something in me just knew, which maybe I'll just make a video about that some other time, but it's another story to tell. But yeah, like the only time I've had a moment like that where I just like had this feeling was when my grandmother died. And she was like a second mom to me too. Like both of them raised me, honestly. I mean, like my parents have always been there for me. But my grandparents were like there for me, like like they were just there for me, like just in every like special moment of my life, like just as a kid, you know. They really made like my childhood very valuable. They've taught me lots of things, even at such a young age, you know. They didn't ever treat me like if I was like a child. They always taught, like, they honestly, even when I was really little, they always treated me like an adult almost. Like they kind of just, you know, they always showed me like they just like talked a lot about their lives, and they wanted me to know, and they like would talk about things that they really thought would be valuable to me, and now I understand, because it really, like, everything they taught me really has stuck with me like all these years. And that's why I also feel like their presence with me all the time, because it really does just feel like they're still with me. Oh my god. I'm sorry. There's like somebody screaming out there, and I'm need to cross the street, and I don't want to. I don't want to now. But it's like where I have to cross the street now. Oh, there she is. Look at her picking out. But yeah, my grandparents were awesome, really. They came from Peru. This person's just screaming and walking towards me, so we'll see what happens. I guess I'll continue recording in case I need evidence. I'm just kidding. I really hope I don't. I'm honestly not nervous about that person. I'm honestly just getting this feeling. I don't really like, I drive by this spot all the time, but I mean, even driving by it, I always think about my grandpa. I can't not think about him. But it's so different walking. Oh my goodness, like this is literally where he like rode his tricycle that day when he got run over. This is like his last stretch. And every time I walk over here, it's been a while now since I actually came out to that spot, but every time I come out here, it's kind of just a lot, honestly. It's just very emotional for me. It's been 6 years now. I like can't believe it. Like I still dream about him a lot, quite often, honestly. Like not super often, but like every once in a while he'll be there. My grandma too. And I feel his presence. I feel both my grandma's presence and my grandpa's presence all the time, honestly. I feel them with me all the time. And it is comforting, but at the same time, I just miss them so much, you know? Like, man, like if I could just like see them one more time. But I'll leave that to God. I do believe that, one day we will be all reunited, so, and like, here we go. Here we are. So this is where he passed away, right here. I'm gonna put up the flowers right over here on this post right there. A little prayer. So I'm gonna stop the footage real quick just to pray for a little bit. But I'll be right back. Yeah, so I honestly feel so much peace this time, which is kind of surprising. Usually when I've gone right there, I always felt like I always felt just so much emotion and sadness. But this time around, I kind of just felt a lot of peace. And I know it's like, it's just my change in perspective of seeing his death. Because I used to just have this really negative thought process that would go down every time I'd come over here. I would just get so sad and just feel like so much grief and just feel like I'm missing him so much. But I honestly feel so much more at peace right now. Honestly, I feel like in a way this isn't the end. I really do feel his presence and just feel like he is really always with me. He's always looking after me, and the love that he showed me in his life is really what really makes me feel the love of our Heavenly Father. He was honestly such a great example to me, and I know my grandpa wasn't perfect, obviously. He's still a man and he still had lots of flaws and lots of things that he probably shouldn't have done in his lifetime, but we all make mistakes. He wasn't a perfect man, but his love that he showed for all his children really was like that of the Savior and of our Heavenly Father. And he's really the reason why I have so much faith too. And I know that he's the one who really taught me about Jesus and his love for Jesus. And what really got me to just believe in Jesus and believe in the same way that he did in Jesus. I remember at his little house that he had, well, I guess every time he moved, he had he had this little altar with this huge picture of Jesus. It was almost like a life. I think it was probably bigger than life-size image of Jesus. It was this huge, it wasn't a full body, but it was just his face and I think up to here, but it was this big picture of Jesus, or maybe I think it was super huge because I was smaller. But it was this huge picture of Jesus, and he put this red light bulb under, because it was that image of Jesus where it shows his heart, an open heart basically, and it's an actual heart, and it's glowing. And he would put a red light bulb right like where the heart is. So it was almost like if his heart was actually glowing. And I just remember thinking like, how awesome that was. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get run over. Oh my goodness, people are so impatient. Man. Anyways, yeah, what was I saying? The heart, yeah, so the heart was like glowing. But yeah, it was just like, it was so beautiful, honestly. It's just like, I always think about that too. I remember, because we lived like he lived right across the street from us for some time. And before going to bed, he would always like turn off all the lights, but he would leave that red light on at night. And you would just see this red glow coming from his house every night. And it was just his altar that he had for Jesus, and he would always put all these artificial flowers around it. And that's why he had this whole collection of artificial flowers, like one because he really liked them, but I think it was his dedication also to Jesus. I don't think he really had the flowers like for himself, to be honest. I think he wanted it more like, you know, to like surround his Jesus altar. But I know he wasn't like idolizing the image of Jesus. It was more just like, it was like a symbol of his like his love for Jesus, because he really was, I mean, at least from the time that I knew him, because I know my family members are very critical of him. At least his kids, I feel like, are kind of critical sometimes of him, because they probably knew him, you know, at a younger age. And like, I feel like once you're an old man, you know, you kind of change, and you're probably different with your grandkids. But I just knew him as this man who loved all his children equally, and how he always used his voice to speak to everyone, not just his children. He would like just show everyone so much love, and he just loved talking to people. He loved like getting to know people, or just showing them like even just kindness, you know, and just love. Even in the simplest ways, just, you know, saying hello and like finding out what their name is and complimenting them or something. He was just so good at doing that. It's just like bringing people together, talking to them, and then if he spoke Spanish, he would, I mean, because he spoke to people even in English, he would just say like the little words that he knew to communicate in English. But he also just like if you spoke Spanish though, he would like go on and on just talking to you, like getting to know you in your life. And then he loved talking about his life and all his experiences too, and talking about Peru. But yeah, as a family, we were very blessed, because every time we'd had like a family reunion, he always reminded us like that he was so happy to see us all together, and that he wanted us to all be just a happy family and just be happy with our kids and with our family members. And yeah, and he passed away like 2 years, like a year and a half before I had Val, my daughter. And I named my daughter after him, Valeria. His name was Valerio, and I named her Valeria because I really wished he had been there, you know, to see me be a mother. But you know, now I'm just like, he's still with me. he's still watching me. He's still, like, he's still there. And I remember him every day, literally every day. And I try to do things with my kids that he, like, used to do with me and my cousins and my brother that I really enjoyed as a kid. And yeah, he was just, honestly, he was my favorite person ever. If I could, like, ever just spend the rest of my life with someone, it would be my grandpa. But, you know, I had my whole childhood with him, and, like, or even early, like, just like my teen years, even with him around. And I mean, we got a little bit more distant as I became a young adult, but it's just, you know, life life changes and everything. And yeah, but I'm just so grateful for him because he taught me so much about my faith. He planted the seeds for sure in my heart, in my mind, in my soul to believe in Jesus. And I'm so grateful for that. I'm forever grateful for that. And on top of that, he also just taught me by example, by just showing me that we should all just be grateful and happy. Like, he was such a happy person. Like, I feel like everybody remembers him like that, you know? Like he always just tried to, like, uplift everyone around him with love and just, I just remember his laugh. He had different laughs. He had, like, his like loud laugh, and then he had his, like, laugh where it was, like, too much, like he had this, like, one specific laugh. I can't even remember exactly how it was now, but I remember my brother has that laugh too, when they laugh so hard that they almost can't breathe, but it's like a different kind of laugh. Oh man. But yeah, I just wanted to share this with you guys, just because my grandpa was a great example of, like, what we should strive to be. At least, you know, we should be happy in every stage of our lives. And I don't want to remember him in a sad way, honestly. I don't want to go back into just being depressed about him not being here, because it did take me a long time to stop grieving it so much. And I don't know if I'll ever stop grieving his death, but I think this is the closest we might come to it, but I don't know. It's only been 6 years now, but, well, it's about to be 6 years now. But I feel like I've come a long way since he passed. I was definitely in a different place when he passed, and it was very negative to feel him go. And that's also why, you know, I just want to, like, record how I'm feeling right now, so that I know, like, the progress, you know. And also just to share with anybody else who might be grieving and might just, you know, feel lonely or feel like no one really understands how you feel, because I mean, I feel like when you're grieving and you're just in this negative headspace, like, it's kind of hard to feel understood, because you kind of just isolate yourself in all these negative emotions. But it shouldn't be like that, you know. We should all definitely be sharing constantly how we feel, whether it's positive emotions or negative ones, you know. We should definitely be together in the good times and the bad times. And when we feel like we are alone, we need to just remember that Christ is with us. Remember that God is with you at all times. God is always with you. God is always watching over you. And He wants what's best for you. And He wants you to just spend time with Him. So always redirect to God, because He has never left your side. Even if you feel far from Him, even if you feel like you're hiding from Him, even if you feel so far from God, you gotta remember that you're not far from God. He is with you, and you have to trust Him and hand over your life to Him. And to be honest, that's the best thing you can do, because only God knows what's best for you. And He's the only one who's going to completely take care of you. So just trust that God knows you. God knows you for sure. And God knows what you need. And sometimes, a lot of things take time. Everything takes time. Growth does not happen overnight. It for sure takes a long time. So be patient with yourself. Be patient with your own growth. Just be honest with yourself. Be honest with God, and always just go and pour your heart out to God for sure. Because He's the only one who's really going to understand you. And the one who's always going to be there for you. And the only thing you really need in life. And sometimes that's something very hard for us to understand, is that God is the only one and the only thing we need in life. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I've finally am coming around to learning. But it's definitely still even a process, still in the process of learning that. But yeah, although you might be missing someone, whether they passed away or not, just know that God will not abandon you. God will not forsake you. And before you know it, you will see miracles happening before your eyes. And we have to recognize all the little miracles even happening around us constantly, daily, and minute by minute, honestly. We need to continuously recognize these miracles as what they are, which are miracles and the work of the Lord. Because the more we do that, the more we are able to strengthen our faith in God and to just witness what He's doing around us constantly, and not focus on the negative. I know it's so difficult to do that sometimes. I know, especially if you're just in a very bad situation, whatever you may be struggling with, whether you may feel stuck in your own head, whether you may feel stuck in a relationship, or like toxic relationships with family members, or with partners, or with your children, with literally anyone, with coworkers. If you feel stuck in any situation, even just with yourself, and just feeling lots of doubt and shame about yourself, just know that God loves you, and God made you exactly who you're meant to be, and that all of us are also children of God, although some of us may seem very far sometimes. But if you're just having negative feelings or thoughts or attitudes, just ask God in prayer to help you get through these things, to help you see the change and feel the change happening around you, because a lot of the time we might just feel stuck, and we have to remember that everything truly is temporary, at least in this life. We're not in eternity where God is, and we have to believe in God, and believe in his power, and believe that he, like, in his power, anything is possible, because it truly is, because he is God, and he has the power to make anything possible. And also just remember that God is never going to answer our prayers the way that we want him to, or expect him to, or how we imagine it, because we ourselves are not God. We're just human. So our capacities of even imagining how God would even answer a prayer is going to be way out of our reach. We won't even be able to imagine how he might answer a prayer. Sometimes we might. Sometimes God answers in a way that we might expect him to, but I feel like most of the time God likes to surprise us, and he likes to, especially when we have lots of faith, especially when you ask him things in deep faith and just asking him with so much belief in him and trust in him. He likes to respond in a way that's gonna surprise you, because you're gonna be like, that's not what I asked for, but it's exactly what I needed. And it's because he knew. I always think about this image that I always see of, like, a little girl holding a flower. She's like holding a flower up to Jesus, and Jesus is asking her, like, to hand it over to him, and she's like, but I want this flower, and he has like a whole bouquet behind him, like hiding it from her. And that's like exactly how God likes to surprise us. It's like, in a way, we think we know what we want and what we need, but when you truly hand it over to God, he will bless you with something greater, which is going to be something that, like, you didn't even expect or didn't even know you needed, And most of the time it's just love. God's just gonna show you love in such incredible ways, in such simple ways, and yeah, man, he really does love every one of us. I can promise you that. And some life can feel like an eternity too. I know, even a whole day can feel really long, especially if you're going through some tribulations. But just know this is not it. This is not eternity. and there is an eternity waiting for us eventually. But just hang in there and use this life to grow and to learn about God and to grow closer to Him and to serve others and to help other people also come to God and come to know of Christ, because there's so much beauty in it. So much beauty in it that Christ has even showed us, through all this, his suffering. There was so much beauty in his life too, that is just so great that we can study and get to know him better and get to know God better and get to know his character and the way that he is. And how much love he has for every one of us. And I just hope that you guys can take something from this video, and I hope that what you can take from this video is that God loves you, and that God is there for you, and that his presence is real, and that he is there with you. And please don't be blind to the miracles happening around you every single day. Please recognize his work. Please know that it is God. Even if it's just a feeling of peacefulness or something that makes you smile, please just thank him, because he loves you. And the more you have faith in him, the more he's able to bless you and help you just have that attitude of gratitude and positivity, which is difficult, I know. But yeah. Wow, these flowers smell so good. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me on this walk. Honestly, I feel so much better than when I first started walking tonight. I feel so much more at peace. I feel so much lighter. God is so good, Man. But yeah. We just gotta be grateful, even when we wanna, I don't know, I'm kind of I kind of did this too, in a way, to help myself. And honestly, because I do, I do have my doubts too sometimes, and I also feel negative thoughts creeping in. Even though it's just like preaching right now, I know it's like I'm doing this in hopes that I can help someone who needs it, but also in a way I do it for myself too, for my own self-doubt sometimes, because I do want my faith to grow. But I know that it's not easy. It's a battle. It really is a battle, like every single day, to stay positive and to just stay grateful even when all the negative thoughts creep in, and I keep thinking back to that night, 6 years ago, where I was just bracing myself for something I didn't know what was going to happen, and it ended up being the death of my grandfather, who was the person I was closest to my whole life. But at the same time, I don't know, I'm kind of still bracing myself even now, 6 years later, just to see what tomorrow has, It's I'm kind of just reliving these moments in my head. And I always do this time of year too. I always kind of brace myself around this time of year. And it's always because I've had just so many bad things happen to me this time of year, every year. But I don't even want to say that. See, that's like my negative thoughts. I don't even want to share that. Like, what am I doing? No, but that's also why I'm like making this video too. Like I said, it's in a way for myself, to just remind myself, you know, to have more faith. I want to have more faith, and I want you all to have more faith too. And we have to work on that every day, even when those negative thoughts start to creep in, especially when the negative thoughts start to creep in. We have to be grateful, and we have to remind ourselves of God's presence, that He is there, and that He loves us, and that we are never going to know what's going to come next. Only He knows what's going to come next. But to not miss out on all the little details of Him speaking to us, and all the little opportunities that He gives us to change and to grow. And we have to always remind ourselves of that. Remind ourselves that we aren't alone in this life either, that there are so many people around us who are going through the same experiences or similar situations as us, and they also might be feeling alone. And that's why we have to use our voice, so that we can comfort each other and point each other back towards God and Christ, so that we feel their presence, so that we feel their love. But yeah. So thank you guys for listening. If you got through all of that, thank you guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this. Comment below where and when you're watching to see where we cross paths. Alright, well, I love you guys. Jesus loves you, and I will see you guys next time.